All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining our latest installment of Solutions for Success. My name is Jonathan Hamilton. The topic today is going to be the power of Power Automate and the Microsoft 365 platform. Most of you will be familiar with Power Automate, potentially as its former name, Microsoft Flow. Again, it is the workflow engine that drives business logic applications, approval processes, and other things that you can tap into, integrating very closely with the Microsoft Cloud Stack, including Power Apps and Forms and SharePoint and Dynamic CRM. John Zeri today is going to give you a brief glimpse of what can be done, again, like with many workflow platforms, there are sort of out-of-the-box drag and drop functionalities that you can implement quite easily. And then there are more complex workflow components. And sometimes that's where Point Alliance gets involved, where clients are able to do their proof of concepts and do some of the basic workflow. And then when we look to extend what has been implemented, there are some great capabilities there. So without further ado, I will turn it over to John, and he's going to run you through a quick overview of Power Automate and then go into a couple examples and samples of things we actually use internally here.
Good morning, John. Thank you, Jonathan, for the introduction. Yes, so this is exciting. I'm just going to have a couple of slides and get right into the demo and see how they all come together and how it works. So a little bit about Point Alliance for those that they don't know us. Again, talk about the low-code, no-code development, askservicedesk.com project, that's our demo, and go from there. So again, Point Alliance, we are a modern workplace solution designation that we just recently received. We also have a legacy gold partner with 11 competencies. We are very proud that our team is 100% Microsoft certified, and you can find additional information about our Point Alliance at the pointalliance.com/company profile. My name is John Zeri. You can find me via email or also on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out if you have any question in the future. You already heard from Jonathan, and that's Jonathan's information. We will be sharing these slides and the presentation on our website and our social media, so you will have access to this information later. So again, low-code, no-code development, and this is fantastic because again, based off the prediction, we're going to be short of lots of developers going forward at those things, and it is very important that to have access to the development tools that require low-code or no-code, and what is referred to as citizen developers. So again, people can go in and using the GUI-based application to set up their flows and if what's happened from each step and the process and so on. And so in today's example, we're going to use our Ask Service Desk project as an example of this low-code, no-code, which we have designed internally, and we use it for our ticketing system. So askservicedesk.com is a service we provide to our clients for the cloud as a cloud service providers. And the elements involved with the Service Desk is Microsoft Form, Power Automate, SharePoint, Microsoft List, and Microsoft Teams. And we will go through it, and you can see how this all come together very easily. We will be also happy to kind of provide you with the extended demonstration of any of this if it does interest you in a later time. So again, one of the great things about the Microsoft licenses, again, we are subscribing to each license and the main portion of that, of course, is mail, right? Because that's the most important part. We got our email and it's that. But the Microsoft licenses come with so many different adds-on and features. Of course, you have mail, you have collaboration, you got the SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams. Then you have access to Microsoft Forms, which is available as part of your license. And I see more and more people actually using the Microsoft Form, and the Forms is actually is improving on a rapid base with the new features and so on. So that's something that we definitely encourage you to use, and it's a great way to collect information internally and externally. And next item on the list would be the Power Automate. So that's the engine that connect all those things together, right? So in our example, what's happening with the Microsoft, with our as service desk, that our clients go online and submit a form. Once they submit a form, the Power Automate will notice that the form was submitted and will do a bunch of things. One of those things is that to grab that form that was submitted, that information, and put it into Microsoft SharePoint list. That get published there. Also, the person that opened a ticket will receive an email letting them know that we have received a ticket and provide them a ticket number. The next things happen, the team that is responsible to handling all those the support for that clients, we also get notified through Microsoft Teams. And we also, Power Automate also manage the life of that ticket to make sure it's not sitting there for too long. If it's too long, we'll escalate it. And if the ticket gets resolved, also once it's closed, the person that opened the ticket going to get an email letting them know that the issue was resolved. Also get a link for the satisfaction survey, which that survey also sitting on the Microsoft forms, and they all come together. And also then inside the SharePoint, you can kind of look at all the tickets you had open for each client and go from that. So they all come together very nicely. Most of you are familiar with the SharePoint, and the SharePoint is a engine behind or a storage behind the Teams and OneDrive, and Microsoft List, it sits on top of the SharePoint as well. So again, it's a great way to display the information. One of the great thing that Microsoft has done with the list, they have provided a bunch of templates, right? So there are templates for for hiring process, so you can create a process and have a flow to it, or for the bug fixes, or for travel requests and so on. So also I encourage you to look at the Microsoft list separately, and we will go to it shortly as well. Other nice thing about this is all these tools are available, of course, through the browser and also your mobile devices. And so you can access this information. It doesn't have to be your desk, and you can also do it from your desktop or mobile device. And the last piece of our project here is Microsoft Teams, that you're very familiar with it. It's one of the fastest growing software ever by any vendor. As of recent stats, they have 300 million active users on it every day. And I guess we all can say we can't live without it, because for communicating with our team members, for managing project, collaborating, attending a meeting, attending webinars like this, and have lots of benefit and features. Again, another product that's built into your licenses, and you should be using it to the full force. So we're going to jump into the demo, and just let me just share my screen here. Oh. I can share the screen, and I hope you can see that well. Okay. And by the way, if you have any question, then please feel free to post it in the question, and we will be happy to answer them as we go. So this is the inside the forms that all my forms here, I can look at by list and so on. So the one that we're using today is the this form that we have here. So we designed this form. It's very straightforward, simple. Again, as I mentioned, the product is improving on the weekly basis, and they have a bunch of new styles they keep adding to it. And the interesting is that based off the title you choose, the background images is presented to you also change. So in this case, because it's a support request, the images that you get presented to you is more related to the support. And if you send an invoice to those things, you can even add a background music to it. So it is just a great product. So in this case, we have we collecting names, email address, phone number, category, a description, supporting all priority, and some choices here, and from there. And so I'm going to show you how the form look like through the web browser. So this is the same form that we have here. So I'm going to just use it for myself. Just going to enter one, and I'm going to use a Gmail icon in this case. I'm going to put this category. We're going to say it's issue with the business phone. All right, so put some in. This is a great tool for snapshotting. So if you want to provide that, like some information about the screenshot, you can use that and just paste it there if you want to. Priority is critical to me, and I'm going to submit this ticket. So the ticket is submitted, and sorry, this happening here. Okay, so the ticket got submitted, and of course, what's the demo? Just so there's some hiccup here and there. So the ticket got submitted, and in shortly, I can see if I go to my Gmail, I see the ticket is already there, right? So that's a ticket. We have received a support with a number there, Microsoft Voice, phone calls, and also provide some information to the user. If they need a require, they can call our 800 number for support and do that. So what's happened behind the scene? So basically what's happened, if I open this new request, I open this, you can see the request was just ran about 37 seconds ago, and it was successful. So let's just investigate what we have here. So we're gonna go inside the flow. So basically what we're saying that the new response is submitted, and this is that form that we're using. Once we do that, we want to grab the content of that information. Again, we're not going to go to too much detail again. And then we're going to, the modules we added here, send the email from the shared mailbox. So was sent to the user, we receive your support request. The other thing that we're also doing, we're converting the time zone to our local time zone. And then the next step is we're going to the SharePoint site and create with which list we're going to use. So that's the SharePoint site. Within the SharePoint site, we have a list, and we're going to create this information. So if I go to our SharePoint site now, I'm going to refresh this page. You can see this request was created here. And if I go back to our teams here, and this is for the Ask Services team, you can see a card was created, a request was submitted by John Doe, Microsoft 365. So the team get notified. So I can view the request now from here, and that will take me right to that SharePoint site, and I can make the changes to it. So I can say assign to, so I can assign a person. So let's just assign it to myself, and status I can say is in progress right now. And we are looking at this thing again as this support requester. It is a list that we have behind the scene, and if we go here and open a list here, so this is a support. Okay, again, even though list is part of the inside the SharePoint site, by itself. You can also manage, open that thing. And that's a great thing because I have a list, Microsoft List application on my mobile device. So I can check it there to see if any ticket open, what's happening with it, and so on. So in this case, let's just, we're gonna go into this at any time. I can go to this ticket, of course, and look at it, and I say, okay, I made a progress, and then I can say, you know what, we have talked to the user and we resolved the problem. So it is completed. So once I do that, once I say completed, it also will ask me what was the duration of this ticket, right? So I'm gonna add the duration here. Sorry, this is, where is that duration went? Right, so we're gonna put the duration here. So it took me half an hour, and we're gonna change this one to completed. And that's it. So the ticket got completed and it's done. So behind the scene, I'm gonna go back to the other my other flow, and this one is checking to see request completed. So behind the scene, and you can see it did find it about 1 minute ago. And if I go to my email here, and the user will get the email shortly to ask them to kind of submit their feedback and how was our progress on that thing. So just and you can see on the main page here, it says in progress. So we only have one ticket here. So again, if you visit this ticket, what is doing it is constantly monitoring the SharePoint site when the item was modified, and the one we looking for is a tracker, and we say if the condition status was equal to completed, send this email. If not, no. So that's what it's doing. It's looking for any changes. So every time you save that list, we'll look into it. And again, you're going to say our team has indicated that your support ticket has been completed. So again, this is easy to modify this and go from there. So one thing, and if I go back to you see that one is here now. Dear John, we did this. Please share your experience of support. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna put John Doe was a 5-star. Thank you for quick launch, and then just submit this. And again, this will be also will get notified inside the teams and to the management team. So they will get a ticket shortly here to say, let them know that the service. And again, you can see this this channel is a private to the management only, and that they will have access to this view only, so they can see how the service request is with the user. So if we go back to the flows here to show you, Microsoft done a great job here that with all the different flows available. So let's just go to the create a flow, and you can see there's lots of them is here, right? So there's a bunch of things. Like let's just say you're looking for, I don't know, I'm gonna just come up with something for MailChimp, for example, even. And you can see the templates is here. And you can see create a new marketing campaign when list created in MailChimp, those things. So again, the flows is not necessarily need to be just within the items within a Microsoft. You can go outside and do those things. One of the flows I have here is service monitoring. So basically what we're doing, we're constantly monitoring the Twitter for any time that the Microsoft has the service done. So what we have done here, we have monitoring Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, and Allstream for the conditions, and for a tweet containing, investigating, identified, resolved, mitigated successfully or ever. So those are things we're picking up here. And if that's any of them comes up, we want to create a card, and we'll send a notification into our Microsoft Teams to let us know. So we don't have to constantly monitor that. So you can use this for many reasons, right? You can even monitor the Twitter for something happen to create the item inside the dynamic. So there's lots of definitely lots available. And as I mentioned, there's lots of templates here that's already ready. So it's always easier to pick up the template that it is closest to what you want to do, and you can modify it from there, right? So let's just say create a planner task when a Microsoft form is submitted. So in this case, maybe the ticket you're doing it is a project related. So what I can do, I can select this one. So this one, use Microsoft form, use a planner and notification. And again, if I'm using the Teams already sign in, I can sign into different aspects. So it's going to sign me into the planner as well. So I have that connector going, and I can create this. So you can see it's already have lots of things for you ready here. So you need to pick up your form now. So again, that's a beautiful thing about this thing is give you all the forms that you have already, right? So because they're all connected, they're all using the Azure Active Directory as under layer security, know who you are, and knows which form you have access to. You can select it from there. And again, I can go here and I can say a support survey, for example. Then I can go to my planner and use one of the planners I created, like a client projects and so on. So that's the whole idea of the low code or no code, that you don't really have to do much of coding here. You might have to kind of, if you want to kind of play around with some of the fields, manipulate them a bit, you can use a bit of coding, but you can see in most cases, probably you don't have to, and you can have a great system in place. So this was a short demo of this. And there is no limit of how many of this you can create, right? You can create those things. It doesn't need a special license for this. So with the license you have, these flows run, and you cannot force it to go any faster, those things, but usually runs within a minute or two behind the scene. There is an upgrade licenses if you need to, that things need to be that instant. But in most cases, you don't need to. So you can have these flows to kind of work connected. If there's an issue, you can go into it and look at it as, okay, it was an issue, and why didn't it run? But the other great thing is that, like, let's just say there was an issue with one of your flows and bunch of forms were submitted. So you're going to see it says failed, failed, failed. What you can do, you can go to all runs here and run things again. If it was, look at those and run them again. Excuse me, if any of your flows fail, it runs again once you fix the flow, and they all get processed. So you don't have to worry about it. Oh my God, like I have a bunch of form submission, and now they're in a system. So that's another great feature as well, that you be able to go in and initiate the flows. So that said, that will bring to the end of our presentation on the demo there. I hope you find it useful. So as some of you may be aware, we're running this webinars on the monthly basis. So it's the third Tuesday of each month. You can check out our next events coming up. So our next event is on the Microsoft Teams and how to collaborate more effectively. And we got in the September, we had Azure DevOps. October is Microsoft Dynamic. And the last one for this year is transforming from on-premise services to Azure and where to start. So I want to thank you for your time today. I will be posting this thing to our website under PointAlliance/events. Also, the video will be posted to our YouTube channel shortly. I don't see any questions, so I want to thank you again, and we hope to see you at the next month event.